last question before I let you go. You had Joe Biden on your show. And at the end of the interview, he said, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black. And that became a whole big thing about the Democratic Party just taking the black vote for granted, not feeling that they have to work for that vote. And, Biden kind of circled back on it and so forth. How do you feel about that statement, and how do you feel about Biden's chances in 2020?
Well, the statement, I think, was a nudge from the universe, because prior to Biden being on the Breakfast Club, we were having all of these conversations about, what it is Democrats are not doing for black people. And, if you look at what happened in 2016, 4.4 million people who voted in 2012 didn't vote in 2016. And more than a third of them were black. So I think a lot of black people just got disenchanted by the whole voting process. They just chose to not, want to be a part of the process. And what we're trying to tell Joe Biden is, if you really want to win in 2020, if you're telling us that you need the largest voter turnout in American history, right, in order to beat Trump and the voter suppression and the possible interference from Russia, whatever it is, if that's what you need, you're not going to go about getting it in this way. And by the way, we didn't just tell Biden that. We were telling every single Democratic presidential candidate that when they were running for president. What is your black agenda? What do you plan to do specifically for black people? What do you think about reparations? What about police reform when it comes to all of these, unarmed black and brown people getting killed at the hands of the police? It was all of these different conversations that we were having, So I feel like that was the universe letting Biden know, if you don't lean into blackness, you're going to get your ass kicked in November. I really feel that way. We were saying he needs to have a black woman vice president. He needs to pick a black woman running mate. I was hoping it was going to be Senator Kamala Harris, but it was a bunch of different sisters out there that was worthy to be VP. He already said he was going to put a black woman on the Supreme Court. He didn't really have a comprehensive economic black agenda. He still really doesn't, but it's there. But like he said, it's a livable agenda. So it can always constantly change and be updated and evolve, which is great. So I really feel like it was the universe just nudging Joe Biden to let him know, yes, Democrats have taken black people for granted. Yes, Joe Biden, the 86 mandatory minimum sentencing, the 88 crack laws, and the 94 crime bill that you, Joe Biden, wrote, all of these things you implemented that put a lot of black and brown people in jail, you have the opportunity now to atone for all of that bullshit. And so I think it was the universe nudging him, because I didn't force him to say that. He volunteered that information. I didn't do nothing that caused him to say what he said. So therefore, he had to stand in front of all of these black leaders and all these black people and apologize. And I really think that was just the universe putting that on his radar, like blackness, 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 blackness. You need to focus on black people. And I think he's done a better job at doing that. He did put out his black agenda. I think it was called Lift Every Voice, which is a terrible name. And he did put Senator Kamala Harris as his vice president, his running mate. So I think he's done a better job. But if you're asking me what I thought about that statement, I think that was just the universe reminding him of who he needed to lean into.